Notre Dame is ranked ahead of Miami, even after losing to Miami head-to-head earlier in the year. But this isn't a mistake. This isn't bias. This is business. This conspiracy theory is all about money, and it's too obvious to ignore. The college football rankings should just be that. The best teams ranked from 1 to 25. It's not the case. Because who controls college football? The big TV networks, the committee. The only thing they care about, eyeballs. How many eyeballs can you get on these games so they can make the most money? Because viewership equals leverage, and leverage equals rankings. So this obviously all revolves around Notre Dame, and they bring numbers. NBC as a network has broadcasted Notre Dame's football games for 35 seasons. NBC, outside of Sunday Night Football, needs Notre Dame to be relevant. And what I mean by relevant is NBC still would be a network without Notre Dame. They still would be a network without Sunday Night Football. But the trending thing with TV is if it's not Netflix, Hulu, Disney Plus, the only thing that drives live TV is live sports. That's the goldmine these days, is who can get the best live sports on their network to drive viewership. And viewers mean money. And here's where my theory starts. NBC has seen some writing on the wall with the competition with ESPN for football. They've invested in NBA. NBA on NBC has come back around. They've started, and the broadcasts have looked great. NBC always does a great job, and they pull in numbers. But there's something about ESPN and football and Notre Dame that make for a juggernaut. And right now, Notre Dame on NBC doesn't pull the same numbers as Notre Dame on ESPN. Let's break it down. All right, here are the numbers. So, in 2024, Notre Dame had 6 games aired on NBC, and they averaged about 2.59 million viewers per game. In 2 games in that year, Northern Illinois and Army pulled more than 4 million viewers in each. And in 2025, their average jumped to almost 5 million per game. Specifically, Texas A&M at Notre Dame hit 6.2 million viewers and peaking at 9.4 million. Now, how do these Notre Dame numbers compare to Miami? Why is Miami getting the short end of the stick in the ratings versus Notre Dame? They're both national brands. They both pull in viewers, but there's levels to this. Why is there such a big difference to the TV networks between Notre Dame and Miami? Notre Dame delivers millions of viewers to the television set every single week, even when it's an opponent that no one really cares about, like a Purdue. 3.1 million viewers just because it's Notre Dame. Now, if NBC loves Notre Dame, ESPN is just straight addicted to them. Check out these numbers when Notre Dame plays on ESPN. 2024 Notre Dame at Texas A&M drew 8 million viewers. Now, this is where we can draw some actual context. The national championship last year, Notre Dame versus Ohio State, it brought in 22.1 million viewers. Now, that is the single most non-NFL related sporting event in television that year. And here's the real nail in the coffin for the numbers in direct comparison NBC to ESPN when Notre Dame plays on both networks is this. Notre Dame goes on the road to Miami 2025, that game where Miami beat Notre Dame earlier in the season, which everyone is pointing to should make Miami rank ahead of Notre Dame. Here were the viewership numbers for that. 10.8 million viewers on ESPN. ABC, ESPN, same thing, we know that. But here's the irony for that. Miami's highest rated game of the decade was that Notre Dame game. For 10 years, Miami hasn't touched a game that has gotten 10.8 million viewers than when they played Notre Dame. So if you're a network and you're seeing these numbers, it's very obvious. If I want people to watch the college football playoff, if I want the most people I can possibly get to watch a college football playoff game, and you're kind of going down to the wire and you're picking between 2 teams, who are you going to take? Who are you going to give a little preference to? Definitely Notre Dame, because you can't really check these guys. They put it into a committee format, so there's no real one blame on anyone else. It's just the committee. And everyone is upset at the committee. But they're fine with that. We are upset about it now. And if this stays the same at the end of this week, going into next, if the rankings stay the same, Miami loses out on the college football playoff because of it, we'll talk about it for that weekend. But we're still going to watch. And the majority of America is going to watch because it's Notre Dame. And because Miami isn't in there, we'll soon forget. And, the news cycle of the day, the news cycle of America is going to continue to turn, and we'll forget about all this. But I won't. I won't forget about this, because this is such a clear indication of a network making the decision that's based in money, not who's the better team, not who's won in a head-to-head matchup. They have similar records. It doesn't make any sense. All the takes you'll see online is everyone agreeing that Miami at this point should be ranked higher than Notre Dame. But it doesn't matter. Follow the money. So what the playoff committee and these networks value more is, what can I guarantee? Because that sets the price for the ads. If Notre Dame is in the playoff, they can point to all of these stats that I just gave you and say, Notre Dame gets at least 10 million viewers on an average game. And they have historical data now to show that they're going to get 15, 17, 22 million, depending on which round Notre Dame gets to in the college football playoff. So because of these hard numbers and these past stats, the networks can set their prices as such. All the players, Lane Kiffin, everyone from the networks to the players to the staff to the coaching, everyone in the college football world is making decisions entirely based off of one thing and one thing alone: money. And this all sets up for the bigger picture. As I've touched on before, NBC has broadcast Notre Dame's games for 35 years. But their contract was renewed in 2023, and it ends in 2029. So in 2029, they're going to go into negotiations and figure out a new TV deal for Notre Dame and NBC. And that opens up Notre Dame to take some meetings with some other potential suitors. One of them is definitely going to be ESPN. The bread and butter of sports is live programming. And I think ESPN is kind of starting to finally realize this. It's not the shows that make them the most money anymore. I think ESPN's biggest goal, to nab Notre Dame from NBC. So obviously Notre Dame's their own private organization. They can choose which TV deal that they want. They can choose to leave NBC if they want. They're not beholden to a conference who decides that for them. So ESPN is starting to make their case. These cases will take years to develop. They want as much data as they can to go into negotiations with Notre Dame as to why they're the better broadcast partner than NBC. As of right now, they have the better numbers. They have everything going for them, and they want this year to remain the same. They want historical data without a year skipped. So ESPN desperately needs Notre Dame in the playoff. We'll see if this is what plays out in the future, but definitely this year, Notre Dame is not missing the playoffs. Trust me on that. If you want more deep dive sports content like this, you want more conspiracy theories explained, hit subscribe, follow me. I'm your guy. When you're watching college football, you're seeing any news come over the line, just remember, it's all about the money.